Well, hello again, everyone. We're the highest tier pod of your weekly unfiltered wrestling and entertainment. Welcome to the Worldly Podcast. We're free and available wherever you get your podcasts. We're on YouTube as well. Another live stream nostalgia. Marcus at Marcus Elite 337 on Twitter. He's the EVP CJP. He's Eli Myers. We're here to talk WWE Unforgiven 2002. Real quick, how you guys doing?
Good.
Doing good. Ready to talk some Unforgiven.
It's nipple mania running wild for me when I can go back and do a Ruthless Aggression pay-per-view because, this was, my time from start to finish. I'll credit the Attitude Era, but I was from start to finish with this era.
Mm-hmm. I agree.
Yeah, you and I are about the same, Marcus.
Yeah,
even though I grew up a WCW kid, an Attitude Era kid, but
same here.
I agree.
We're 6 weeks apart of age, so we're basically the same person, but from two different states. Except you're more of a Foot Locker guy. I'm more of a Hot Topic guy.
Mm-hmm.
I got a lot of graphic T-shirts. You got a lot of jerseys in your closet.
And yet I'm the one that married a Hot Topic girl, so I mean it kind of works.
Well, shit, I need to go find me a Foot Locker chick. Maybe I can get all the jerseys in the world.
What's up, boss lady?
So
OTC.
2002 was I thought it was a fantastic year. It was a big change. You got rid of the Attitude Era. You brought in World Wrestling Entertainment so they wouldn't get screwed by some pandas. And they did a brand extension, which people didn't like it at first, but then it kind of evolved. But they didn't do that part till 03. But imagine if they did the brand split pay-per-views in 2002. You think it would have succeeded if it had started a year before than it did?
No, it was 2002. Because it started right after WrestleMania 18.
Yeah.
I meant like Raw had their own pay-per-view, SmackDown had their own, and then they get together 4 times a year.
Yeah, that was 03. Yep.
I mean, I think so. I think, both the rosters are pretty stacked back in 02. I think they could have done their own PLEs, but I think it was the right decision what they did, but combining them like that.
Because it's you look at some of the guys on that roster who were all good, but it's a good thing they kind of waited because I couldn't see they tried to do a singles run for guys like Bradshaw before he had the JBL gimmick. He was just this big Tex gimmick, or Bubba Ray Dudley with a single run gimmick, Devon with a single run gimmick. It wouldn't have worked out. It just still haunts me. They tried to do a singles run for guys like them.
Plus, going back for 2002, Mr. McMahon brought in the Poison, too. 2002 was the return of the NWO back in February.
By the way, they love to break tag teams up. Let's see, they broke up the Dudley Boys, they broke up the Hardy Boys, they broke up the APA. The only one they kept was, they did, Edge and Christian, they didn't break up. They just said, fuck you, I hate you, we're splitting up.
Yeah, McMahon likes to break those tag teams up for sure.
Yeah.
Well, we even just had another one last night with New Day, so and that's Triple H's era. So
that's coming. We know that's coming.
Oh yeah.
But it's crazy too how this was actually the first pay-per-view in that building. I say the house Kobe built, the Staples Center, or you want to call it Crypto.com. I mean, the arena's only 25 years old, and it took them 3 years to get their first pay-per-view in that building. Wonder why it took that long.
Yeah, LA was a big marquee area. WWE was known for East Coast, so back then it was a lot harder to get into the West arenas.
No shit though. I look back at the not the pay-per-view schedule, the weekly schedule of Raw and SmackDown in the year 2000. Not only did they hit the East Coast a lot, Madison Square Garden hosted 5 Raws and 1 pay-per-view in the month of 2000.
Oh yeah, that makes sense.
They didn't even go to Chicago that much, or even they went to Philadelphia a little, maybe the second most, or maybe Boston was the second most. But it's nah. MSG had Royal Rumble and 5 Raws. I didn't even count the house shows. What's up, Jordan Taylor? All right, so Unforgiven 2002, it kicked off with an 8-man tag team match. We get Kane, Booker T, Goldust, and Bubba Ray Dudley, or you want to call them Team USA, taking on the Un-American Christian, Tess, Lance Storm, and William Regal. Okay, so the Un-Americans, of course, everyone hated it because they shit talk our country, saying we suck. Come out with the flag upside down. One time they wanted to burn the flag in MSG, not even a year after 9/11, and that's when Kane had his return. But I felt like, I know this was Vince's fucking idea. I felt like it was too soon. I said it in a previous episode, like they could have waited like maybe 3 years for this faction, because we're not even past 9/11 yet. We're getting so patriotic, and then you create this faction of 3 Canadians and a British guy to shit talk our country while we're still sorrowing the terrorist attacks. I thought it was too soon. I hated it, but they kind of made me laugh. They had a few gimmick things they did that made me laugh, getting beat up by Americans or whatnot. Like, what did you think of the Un-Americans?
You can go Parsley Law if you want.
The team was stacked, honestly. You had Regal, you had Lance Storm, Tess, who was very underrated, and you had Christian. I mean, the team was what it is, was all international stars that were all established. Regal was world renowned. Lance Storm had his runs in ECW and WCW before even coming over. Christian was a already established tag team, and same with Tess. So putting all of those guys together was a great idea, actually.
Yeah, like he said, Christian, Regal, Tess, Lance Storm, all big names, world renowned. I do agree with Marcus, though. I think they could have waited a little bit longer to put them together, but I don't know. It's a pretty stacked tag team. Definitely a great start to the PLE. But yeah, I like them as a team, but I think they could have waited.
What did you think of Kane's new look when he came back, where he had a mask with his mouth open and you can actually understand what he's saying? Had the new theme song, Slow Chemical.
Yeah.
From and then the new look. Like, I like this version of Kane. I mean, then he kind of got soft in 03 till he was unmasked, and then he really became a monster.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, this was a good version of Kane. It was 2 stacked tag team. Yeah, Booker T, Goldust, Bubba Ray Dudley, and Kane. Not a big Goldust guy, but I love Booker T and Bubba Ray Dudley and Kane here. Not a big Rhodes fan of any sort. So
I will say, Dustin, you could say Dustin finished the story before the story was even a goddamn thing, because him and Booker T had great chemistry together. They had a bunch of comic. Yeah, like remember Goldust, one pig dressed up like Oprah for a pay-per-view. Another dressed like Darth Vader. Booker T with the lightsaber was one of my favorite moments of Booker T. Trying to pretend he was Jedi because they were advertising Attack of the Clones and whatnot. They were a great tag team that just could not win the tag titles, and then they finally won them at the end of the year. So, like, before the story was even a thing, Dustin finished the story before Cody's story was even a thing.
Yeah, I don't know. I never could really get behind the whole Goldust thing. I mean, he's talented, but I just wasn't somebody that I could really just get behind. But I like him with that team, with Booker T and Bubba Ray Dudley. I absolutely love him. I love that Kane of that year as well. So it was a real good team to go against Un-Americans.
And then Bubba Ray Dudley just in cargo shorts was just weird. Baseball jerseys, cargo shorts, and backward trucker hats. I mean, I was like, this was like the pre-bully Ray, you could say.
Pretty much. Yeah.
But,
I thought this version of Kane was great. You know, like the new mask and the way he was able to breathe more instead of even using the voice maker. That was kind of cool at the time. This was pretty much, pun intended, but it was a hot start for Kane when he came back and joined Booker T and Goldust and Bubba Ray. And then it launched them into a contender shot for the Intercontinental title.
Well, quick question. Since his return that year, what was the worst thing he ever did since that return in 02? The Kana Rooney or Katie Vick?
Oh, easily Katie Vick.
I don't know. Both are pretty bad. I was probably going to go with the Kana Rooney, but
I mean, there was an episode of Raw, like post-show, they were trying to get Undertaker to do it.
Oh, God.
So,
I see why he did. I see why he did.
Kane was able to do it. I mean, it showed character.
It was exciting, by the way. It was an exciting tag match. The Americans got the win when Kane chokeslam Lance Storm when Regal was trying to go for the power of the punch, which reminds me, William Regal at times would wrestle with T-shirts tucked in his tights. Couldn't understand that, unless that's just a gentleman thing. But yeah, but that was I guess he was a little not on cue because I swore the Un-Americans won that tag match. This is the first time in like 7 years I watched this pay-per-view and I forgot the result of that match. But no, the Americans beat the Un-Americans courtesy of Kane being serious for a minute and chokeslamming Lance Storm. So, well, then we go backstage, which we're going to have a lot to talk about this. It's going to get scattered throughout the show. But Stephanie McMahon, who was the GM of SmackDown, was hyping Billy and Chuck for their big interpromotional tag match they're going to have later, which I just found out. I already knew one stipulation, but I didn't realize there was a second. So, of course, obviously, if 3-Minute Warning won that match, Stephanie was going to have to perform a little HLA, hot lesbian action, which I'm going to get to later on. But if she made a statement, if Billy and Chuck win, then he was gonna have to kiss her ass.
Yep.
If that would have been true, fuck for Eric Bischoff's shake, I'd have just taken a loss. He could have joined a second. I mean, there's a rich history of kiss my ass clubs in that family, and there could have been a second one.
Yeah, that would have been one that I wouldn't have mind losing myself. Stephanie looked pretty good back then for sure.
And you can tell.
I mean, I still got a little plot twist on that one. What could have happened too, but that'll be later on.
And I mean, you think King didn't give a fuck? It's like saying, "Oh my God, she looks so hot, JR," and Vince like, "Shut up! It's my daughter, damn it!"
The King was about to have a heart attack.
Or he probably told him, "You're gonna talk sexual shit about my daughter, because I'm fucking Vince Kennedy McMahon." I shit on people.
Yeah, didn't they say something about he wanted to like book those like makeout scenes and like with his daughter and stuff like that? Like he liked watching that stuff, or I don't know. That's just kind of weird.
Well, I know the one he did with Trish when fucking Linda was sedated. They rehearsed that multiple times in front of his fucking family, and I'm like, what the fuck? That's yourself, crazy. But. That's a weird family, folks. So next match, what's up, Justin? Next match, we get Chris Jericho versus Ric Flair for the Intercontinental Championship. This goes back to SummerSlam when they had a match, good match where Ric Flair made Jericho tap out to the figure 4. And I don't know what week it was, but somehow Jericho won the Intercontinental Championship from Rob Van Dam. After he brought it to Raw, defeating Benoit, I think it was the following week or 2 weeks later. They're still feuding.
2 weeks.
They're still feuding because Jericho hasn't gotten over Ric Flair destroying his equipment when he first revealed Fozzy to the world and played a concert on Raw. And he destroyed his equipment and all that. Well, they're having this match, and it was a decent match. Nate refereed it, of all people. He kept targeting Jericho's knee because supposedly Jericho had a knee issue. Well, at one point, he was going for the lion salt. Flair moves, but he lands on his feet. But when he landed, you think he might have tweaked his knee.
Tweaked it.
Yep.
And we thought it was a serious injury. And Flair's like, about to get to me. He's like, no, I'm hurt. Well, kind of like what we talked about last week with Fall Brawl 98. They get the EMTs out there, the trainers. When he comes, Jericho just like stands on his feet. There's nothing wrong with him. He stole a page out of Flair's book, being the dirtiest player in the game, puts Flair in the walls of Jericho, taps out, retains his Intercontinental Championship. And yeah, Ric Flair bought the oldest trick in the book that he invented.
Yeah. Go ahead.
What comes around goes around. or what goes around comes around. Same deal.
Yeah, I thought it was for me going back watching these PLEs, seeing Ric Flair still be able to wrestle at a high level like that. They said he was at that time he was close to 50 or something like that, or it might have been 50 already.
53, I think, or 54.
Yeah, so like I don't know. For me, the match was like 6 minutes or so. Ric Flair at that time he didn't really like going too long. But like Eli said, it's just kind of, he fell for one of his own tricks right there. He should have known better. He's dirtiest player in the game. But Jericho definitely pulled him. He pulled me too when I went back and watched it. I was like, holy shit. But yeah, I like the match. I don't think it overstayed its welcome or anything like that. But yeah, Jericho won. So.
Now, eventually, Flair did become Intercontinental Champion at Unforgiven 3 years later when he beat Carlito. And I'll never forget that night. Flair acted like he won his 17th world title, and he had all them women in the limo, and he was taking Viagra's and taking probably ecstasy. And he was drinking bottles of champagne. That was still one of the funniest segments he did after he won a championship. But
he finally became a Triple Crown winner because he won the WWE Championship in '92. He won the world. He would become World Tag Team Champions with the Animal Batista, and then winning the IC title. So it works out.
Just never won the U.S. title. I mean, he won the U.S. title in WCW, but I don't think that counts as a Grand Slam because he never won it under WWE. So.
No.
Well, now we see Eric Bischoff backstage with Jamal and Rosie, or people would know him as Umaga, or Matt Anoa'i, the older brother of your OTC. So, thoughts and prayers and ones up to the Guardians of the Tribal Chief. The 3-minute warning. Eric Bischoff talking strategy with them, and he said, I know a guy I'm going to pair you with. He knows Billy and Chuck really well. He brings in Rico. Rico is now the manager, but they weren't called 3-minute warning yet. I think it was a few weeks later, because that was that whole Bischoff's like, I have 3 minutes, and then they come and just beat the fuck out of women.
Or just whoever's
out there.
I remember they targeted women. They did it to Lillian Garcia. They did it to Mae Young. They did it to some lesbians.
Stephanie McMahon.
When for the Billy and Chuck wedding. I remember they did it for women more. So, yeah, they're talking. Then brings in Rico, which, by the way, Rico, those Elvis sideburns always get me. I always loved his suits, but I think he is he? Are he straight or no? I thought he was gay, but I think I heard he's straight. It's not a problem. I thought. I think he's married to a woman. Someone told me he is married. I think someone said he met him. I had a buddy of mine. He went to Vegas and he recognized him, and he went and met him, and he was like walking out of airport with another woman, and he thought like that was like a friend or something. I think they both looked like they had wedding bands on. So I'm like, maybe he is married to a woman. I mean, hey, it's all right. He likes women. That's fine. He likes men. That's fine. We don't judge people.
I definitely jealous of his. I'm not jealous of his sideburns, but man, he could those thick pork chops on the side. I remember growing up, I was like, I'm gonna get them thick like that. But yeah, it was. He was quite the interesting person to put with Jamal and Rosie for sure.
Like, he was perfect with Billy and Chuck because everyone thought they were like a gay tag team. And they brought in a guy like Rico, who was not only their manager, but like you could say like a fashion coordinator. Because I don't know, he always wore like the animal print suits. Like, if you come out in a tiger print suit, it's like, I want that. I love tigers. You come out in a leopard cheetah print, I'm like, you can keep that. Come out in a zebra print, you can keep that. I'm like, I want the tiger print suit. Or the cow print. He did a cow. I remember one time he did a cow print on like episode of SmackDown. But yeah, I always wanted them type of suits he had. So then we get Eddie Guerrero versus Edge. So I'm going to use your words, CJP. This was actually a trilogy. They had their first match at SummerSlam where Edge defeated Eddie. They had this second match was this night and I'll talk about the third later, but also this I don't remember what they were feuding about. I think this was right when Eddie came back from I think he just came back from rehab. He re-signed with WWE, and after the car accident, he come back as a heel. This was after the Latino Heat gimmick, but this one was hard for me as a kid because I loved both of these guys so much. I was a big Edge head. I loved this when he come out to Rob Zombie, and everyone loved Eddie, despite if he was a babyface or a heel. But I think when him and China were together, that was great chemistry, and you get that today. Well, you got it in the past with Dominic and Rhea. They were basically China and Eddie 2.0.
Yeah.
But it's they always had good matches together, and Eddie he just was on the cusp of that lying, cheating, stealing gimmick before he teamed with Chavo to form Los Guerreros. And also Edge was wrestling this match with a mild concussion after he took a chair shot from Eddie. Well, at one point, Eddie exposed the turnbuckle. Edge shoved him into it and speared him, but he kicked out. Edge was going for a Hurricane Rana on that same turnbuckle, but Eddie countered it where Edge's head bounced off that exposed turnbuckle, and then Eddie did a sunset flip powerbomb to win the match. And then I'm like, oh, great. It's even. Eddie got the win. Let's get to this third trilogy. And sure enough, when I guess it was a season premiere of SmackDown, that following SmackDown, they updated the shit. They brought the blue ropes back. The apron skirts were silver. The turnbuckle posts were silver. And they added that mini LED-tron on the side of the stage. That night, they main evented SmackDown in a no disqualification match. I think it got named Match of the Year in 2002. That's when Edge won with the execution off the top of the ladder.
That was amazing.
That was a fucking great match. And that was the week before they came to Lafayette for the first time for SmackDown. They were in San Diego that night. But what did you take on this match, and what did you remember from their final match of their trilogy in that no DQ match?
Besides the no DQ match, I thought this one was better. These two knew each other right off the bat from their first encounter at SummerSlam, and these two just tore the house down. It was one of those matches it's you really didn't want to miss. And they just kept on going.
Yeah, I agree with Eli. Also what you said, Marcus. This was a good Edge for me. Back in 2002, you had the Edge heads. The music he come out to. I love Eddie. Both of these guys were two of my favorites. Rest in peace to Eddie for sure. So it's great to be able to go back and watch some of these guys like Eddie Guerrero and Benoit. But like I tell you all the time, Vince McMahon started the trilogy thing, and I guess the apple don't fall far from the tree, and Triple H kind of picked it up, and now he's running wild with it with the trilogies. But yeah, it was a great match for me. This was my favorite one. It's 12 minutes long. Kind of kept you on your toes the whole time. Didn't really know how it was going to go. Eddie ended up pulling it off, taking the top of the turnbuckle off, and Edge hit it exposed and the sunset flip. But it was about 12-minute match, and it was really great. One of the best matches for me on the card for sure.
Oh yeah. Well then, we get backstage. Here comes Triple H walking into the Raw locker room. He finds RVD. He just starts talking shit to him. And there you see Ric Flair just sitting in the corner after his loss. And then he pointed at Flair. He said, "You see that guy right there? That guy's a legend. But now he's all washed up. And then after tonight, you're going to end up just like him, all washed up." Well, then Flair kind of stood up for RVD. And he's like, "Well, I'm glad to have guys like Ric Flair to support me." And I got more to that when we'll get to it. But I remember looking back at that, and I'm like, something don't seem right here. And then I figured it out towards the end. But when we get to that match, I'll bring it to you. Oh, and he even called him a loser. So,
yeah. When I watched it, obviously in 2002, I didn't know as much about content creating and paying attention to detail. And so I was just watching it. When I watched it today, I was just like, there's no way I picked up on it in 2002 that Flair was going to do what he did later on, But But now, you know, when you watch wrestling, you're like, you know, you see like what Priest did with Finn, like grabbing him by the shirt. You're like, okay, well, he's turning later on that night, you know. So for me, that was a good segment to go back in time to watch, because you really don't, you know, now you pick up on it, but back then you didn't. So,
all right,
totally agree.
Yeah, then we get 3-minute warning: Jamal and Rosie versus Billy and Chuck, interpromotional match, Raw versus SmackDown, with those stipulations I mentioned earlier. There was actually a lot of high flying from those big men, super kick parties from Billy and Chuck. Not to mention, I mean, it runs in the family. I forgot. I mean, we know about Roman's football background, played at Georgia Tech. I didn't realize his brother, Matt, played football, and he was a lineman for the University of Hawaii.
mm-hmm.
Oh, yeah.
Runs in the family.
Yeah, those guys are all just crazy good athletics.
I knew something was up. I knew Matt had to play football because majority of his matches, he was wrestling in NFL jerseys.
Mm-hmm.
And then Jamal or Umaga, he mainly I don't know. He looked like a skateboarder to me. Like, I know he's be too big to ride a skateboard, but it's like Jamal dressed like he came from like I don't know any fucking skateboarding shops, but you know, Rosie looked like he shopped at Foot Locker or Dick's Sporting Goods for his wrestling gear, and Jamal looked like he went to, I don't know, like,
looks like he just met up with Tony Hawk to get some of his gear. He that's what he kind of reminded me of, was the Tony Hawk skateboarder type guy.
Or go get a wife beater and all that, or just get the bandana with it. Get like the skateboarding shorts and all that, the combat boots with it. Well, this was a hell of a match. Well, Jamal hits Billy, takes out Rico. Rico tried to get involved, but Jamal hit a Samoan drop on Billy Gunn to win for Raw and Bischoff, and we know what's going to happen later. Well, Bischoff is like super excited. He's backstage interviewing with Jonathan Coachman, and then he's already backstage with like 3 or 4 different women that I swear to God, they do not look as hot as they look. There's no way they're lesbians. They had to have been paid actors, because I couldn't find a picture of them 3, but I guarantee you they don't look like lesbians. They didn't even act like lesbians. They look like they've never been on TV in their life. They're just standing there like, what do we do? How do you just stand there and do nothing? Like, nah, kiss each other. Massage each other's shoulders, hold each other's hands. I mean, prove if you're saying you're lesbian, you got to do something. You can't just stand there and be fucking stage fright.
Yeah.
I got a lot of lesbian friends. They are the bravest women I've ever met in my life. They don't give a shit. They are outgoing and fun to party with, or need somebody to talk to. They're all open ears. They're not shy. And I'm shout out to all my lesbian friends and cousins I have. They can tell you the truth. Like, they're not afraid of shit, and they're not shy of shit.
No, I think those all were women that McMahon and all them, like, McMahon was a womanizer anyway. So it made sense. I mean, they're probably just, like you said, they're probably just paid actors. What's up, Miami? But yeah, the peaches and cream back there, like, come on, man.
No, I got a lot to say about that. There's something not right about that when I get to it. I got proof. I got proof. I'm gonna show later. But all right, moving on. We get Triple H versus Rob Van Dam for the World Heavyweight Championship. Now go back to September 2nd, 2002. Monday Night Raw was in Milwaukee. This was 1 week after SummerSlam. You know, Triple H came off of, actually, when I said match of the year, no, match of the year in 2002 was either that non-sanctioned match with Triple H and Shawn at SummerSlam, or it was the Elimination Chamber match at Survivor Series. So my mistake. One of those 2 matches got match of the year. I think it was the Chamber match, but it might have been Triple H and Shawn. But Shawn got taken out by, Shawn got hit in the back with the sledgehammer. He was in a wheelchair. He disappeared on TV for like a month. Well, the following week on Raw, Eric Bischoff kicked off Raw, coming out with like a steel briefcase because they were not doing that thing where if you're a champion, you can hop on both brands, but if you're no longer a champion, you go back to your respective brand. The night after SummerSlam, Brock Lesnar hopped in a limo with Paul Heyman and Stephanie McMahon and left Madison Square Garden to go to SmackDown. Raw, he would say he was never coming back to Raw again. They ended up renaming the belt the WWE Championship, and it was no longer the Undisputed title. So Bischoff come out and he says, y'all deserve y'all's own world champion. Raw deserves a champion. Well, there you see, Eli got it. He opened up the briefcase. He pulled out the big gold belt that was once the WCW World Championship. Mm-hmm. And I'm like, okay, he's about to make a big announcement. We got another pay-per-view coming. Who's fighting for it? Well, here comes Triple H. And just like that, he was handed that championship and was automatically became the new World Heavyweight Champion, basically for taking out Shawn Michaels. So I was pissed. I called an audible. This was bullshit. I'm like, what the fuck did he do to deserve that? I mean, yeah, I get 2002. He was a comeback year. To come back from the quadricep, won the Royal Rumble, won WrestleMania, lost it 4 weeks later to fucking Hogan. But what did he do to actually get this belt? I didn't like the fact, but it made great fucking storytelling within the next till you got to Shawn Michaels. But if you remember that Raw, what was your take on Bischoff just handing the big gold belt to Triple H?
I mean, Triple H was technically number one contender, but he didn't have a title to go after. So that's why Bischoff handed him the belt in the first place. And at the same time, like, was it nice to see the world title back? And because we hadn't seen it since WrestleMania 18. I mean, Raw needed a title, Raw needed a champion. Who was the best high-profile name on Raw at that time? Triple H.
Yeah, I have to agree with Eli. Just looking back on that, watching it, it's such an Eric Bischoff move. As what I was thinking. It's the way he kind of was with Hogan back in WCW. But Eli's right. You know, Triple H was kind of the guy on Raw. I mean, I guess they could have had a tournament for it, but if he was going to hand it to somebody, Triple H was the most deserving on Monday Night Raw. Obviously, you don't like anybody to be handed a belt, but it, like you said, Marcus, it led to great storytelling. So I was okay with it.
Go ahead,
Plus, at the same time, Triple H's first title defense was actually against Ric Flair.
Mm-hmm.
Can we just examine this version of Triple H? Clean shave, sideburns. Mm-hmm. He just looked weird. Like this was a true heel Triple H right here.
Man, he was super jacked. Like, man, just like he was ripped. I mean, he definitely looked a lot different, but he was still a cerebral assassin. Like he's unbelievable.
I've had people told me if they would have tried something like this similar to today this year, they said they would have did this with Roman Reigns.
Oh, easily.
I mean, yeah. I mean, they didn't hand it to him, but if they were going to do it, he would have been the guy. Because I mean, he held the belt for 1,300 days. I mean, who else would you give it to?
Well, even when Roman won his first championship, like in that mini tournament at Survivor Series, he said no to the authority. Well, guess what happened? Sheamus bro-kicked his way to a championship that same night.
Mm-hmm.
Well, the following week on Raw, he needed an opponent for Unforgiven, so they had a fatal four-way match. It was Rob Van Dam, Chris Jericho, The Big Show, and Jeff Hardy. It was actually a fatal four-way elimination match. Mm-hmm. Big Show got either got disqualified or counted out. He got eliminated. Then Jeff Hardy got eliminated. It came down to RVD and Jericho. RVD became the number one contender, and kind of shades of like the Booker T storyline. Like Triple H looking at RVD like, you're the next big guy, and he'd laugh and joke like, I get you you were the biggest name in ECW, but that place was a joke, whatever. And then RVD mocked him, like imitating him, spitting water out. I'm not scared of a guy who does this, spits water out, and mocked his entrance, and it pissed him off. And it led to this hell of a match right here.
Well, look at RVD like the year before, like when he came in part of the Invasion angle. He had great matches against Jeff Hardy over the Hardcore title. He feuded with Stone Cold Steve Austin and Kurt Angle over the WWE Championship. He was already in championship matches. Mm-hmm. So it's not like if he wasn't used to them.
And he feuded with Jericho for the title. I was at that Raw when he fought Jericho. Yep. And we thought he won the title, but he got he won by DQ. And we got fooled. We thought he really won the belt because Flair gave him the titles, and then they were like, "No, he won. He got DQ'd. He's not champion. Titles can't change by DQ." We're like, oh, and then he had a great run with the Intercontinental Championship against some guys like William Regal and stuff, and he even feuded with Brock Lesnar that summer of 2002 when the King of the Ring finals, the match at Vengeance.
Yeah,
where he was the Intercontinental Champion then before he lost it to Benoit and then won it back. So he had 3 Intercontinental title runs in 2002.
Yeah,
fucking right.
Yeah, he was definitely a top contender. Like you said, 3 Intercontinental Championships that year. Had big feud with Brock. Couple other guys, so he fit the bill. He won the Fatal 4-Way. I thought it was the right fit for this match, so it was a hell of a match. It went like almost 20 minutes. So,
yeah. Well, Earl, anytime it kind of gives me like the Chris Jericho, Aubrey Edward vibes. Every time Triple H got a big match, Earl Hebner's the referee, and they always got good chemistry, especially if they're pushing and shoving or arguing. And Earl Hebner's got a good history of getting accidentally knocked out by Triple H. Like in one point, Earl Hebner got clotheslined out of the ring. And then he knocked Earl Hebner out. Well, RVD at one point counted a pedigree and hit a 5-star frog splash. But Earl Hebner was still knocked out. He went to go check on him. Then Triple H comes and hits him with a low blow. And Triple H gets the sledgehammer. And then just out of nowhere, Van Daminator with the sledgehammer hits Triple H in the face. And we're like, oh my God, shit. Well, here comes Ric Flair with a sledgehammer as well. And I had a feeling it was fucking coming. Anytime you're going to go hit somebody and you take forever to hit them, a heel turn's coming. He turned around and hits RVD with the sledgehammer. And Triple H hits a pedigree. Ric Flair drags Earl in the ring, the slowest fucking. I think we were about to get to The Undertaker versus Brock Lesnar when he finally hit the 3 count. And Triple H retained the title, and Jim Ross always in the background. Oh, that son of a bitch! Shit talking Triple H, like Tony Schiavone would shit talk MJF, or Michael Cole would shit talk Dominic Mysterio. JR shit talking Triple H was one of the funniest times ever.
Oh
yeah,
great match. But I knew Triple H was going to retain because he was just handed that belt, and I figured he was going to keep it a good bit, but. It was not a bad match. I'll give it to RVD for hanging in there with Triple H for his first. It seemed like it was his first world title match, but I know it wasn't. It just seemed because it was forever since he had a title shot. Like that was his first title shot at a world title since December of 2001. That's how long it's been. But hell of a match.
Yeah, it was. Like you said, Earl Hebner, great. One of the best ever, if not the best, in my opinion. When you seen Flair come out, like he made it way too obvious that he was going to hit RVD with it. I didn't pay attention to it back then, probably, but now I was just like, yeah, I knew he was going to club him with it. But yeah, it was the start to Flair and Triple H being together. So great match, though.
So, quick question. Are you guys fans of soap operas or anything like that?
Oh yeah.
I watched Young and the Restless and all that with my grandmother and them, like when I was younger. So like I know who Vic Newman was when he come out there.
Eric Braeden, aka Vic Newman. Yeah.
No, I was more my grandparents and I would watch Passions and Days of Our Lives.
I remember little Timmy. Fucking Dolly. That little. Yeah. Okay, so like name off the top of your head, name at least 5 soap operas you've watched in your childhood. Even if you were not a fan of it, you were at your grandparents' house, because my grandparents have watched it all their life. But name me at least 5 soap operas you've watched as a kid.
I can do at least 3. Passions, Days of Our Lives, and General Hospital.
For me, Young and the Restless, Days of Our Lives, Guiding Light.
I remember that one.
Let's see, Passion. Let's see, what there was one more. I don't know. I can't think of off the top of my head, but there was probably 5. I don't know. That's 4 at least right there.
Oh, I can tell you 5 my grandparents watched. Number 1, Days of Our Lives, still going to this day. One of the longest running shows in history. They've watched that. They've watched Young and the Restless. They've watched Bold and the Beautiful.
I forgot that
Sunset Beach.
As the World Turned.
Guiding Light. Yeah, I remember Guiding Light. I remember Passion. Passion had that song like everybody sang.
Yep.
As the World Turned. That was another one. That was my 5th one.
Well, I always remember the intro to Days of Our Lives. Like, whether if you're showing the hourglass or showing the sunlight, I would always quote that line. Like, sand through the hourglass, so are the days of our lives. I don't know. The Bold and Beautiful intro scared me a bit. That fucking loud sound effect with the camera flashing. Like, that used to scare me as a kid. Then after that, it's like, it didn't scare me no more. It just came out of nowhere. So, like, when I knew that show was about to start, I'd go hide in the room till the intro was done.
Yeah.
I've sat close to a fucking speaker one time in a surround. But then surround systems in the 90s wasn't really that big, but I had an aunt that had one. And I, like, took a nap in front of the TV watching, like, Price is Right or something, and then they put that on. And when that intro started, it scared the shit out of me, and I was so scared of that sound effect at the start of the intro, and I was like, nope, I'd always go hide in the room until the intro was over. So, but yeah, okay, I didn't get this segment. D'Lo Brown talking with Billy Kidman. I'm like, what was that all about?
That was very random.
Yeah. And then here comes Eric Braeden quoting Day of Reckoning. Keep your friends close and your enemies closer. Because the stars were out. They were in LA. They were in Hollywood. And all they showed that whole night was Shaquille O'Neal in the crowd. A young Shaq, by the way. And then Eric Braeden backstage. And they're like, oh, you came here to watch the show? No, I'm here to pick her up. Dawn Marie. Fucking just fucking old men.
Oh, yeah.
Poor Al Wilson.
Jesus.
Imagine she gave Eric Braeden a heart attack on a honeymoon instead of Al Wilson.
Lord have mercy. Poor Tori.
Imagine quoting a line from The Young and the Restless on her while they're making love. That'd have been funny as hell.
You remember wasn't it her and Tori Wilson that had the hot lesbian action?
Oh yeah, one of my favorite moments from Armageddon 2002. Like one of my favorites right there. Well, then we get Trish Stratus versus Molly Holly for the women's championship. I didn't have much to say on it, but Trish won with a bulldog, but it was her 3rd title win, but it seemed like her very first because she was crying and had an interview with Coach after. And I'm like, I know she'd been champion before, but she had 2 reigns in the past. And this was her 3rd, but I mean, I guess because she finally beat Molly Holly, they had like a long feud throughout 2002, and she finally beat her. I think that's what it was all about. But I mean, was it a little too much?
No, not really. And it was kind of like a student versus teacher type deal because, like any other time, Molly Holly was training everyone, and Trish was one of her pupils. I still remember Molly Holly, like even before WWE, because she was Miss Madness '99 in WCW with Randy Savage.
Yeah. Well, after that, then you see 3-minute warning with Rico backstage. with all the lesbians, and then that's like, okay, something's not right here. They're supposed to like women, and they're all sitting, grinding, try humping Rico and Jamal and Rosie, and I'm like, I thought they were supposed to be lesbians. This didn't make sense. And then Bischoff's like, I'm so happy. I'm about to go out there and do my thing. Y'all go out and celebrate. Just tell them it's under my name, Eric Bischoff. Everything's on me. Well, he keeps 2 women with him. I'm going to bring up later. While they walk out, we get ready for this fucking banger. I want to say this comment. Chris Benoit versus Kurt Angle. What's up, Temple, by the way? That was definitely match of the night, but it was the build-up that made it funny. One night on SmackDown, they had a 6-man tag match. It was Rikishi, Undertaker, and Edge. A weird trio right there. Taking on Kurt Angle, Chris Benoit, and Eddie Guerrero. Kurt Angle got hit with a stink face, and Chris Benoit's laughing, and Kurt Angle got pissed and said, oh, fuck you. He walked out. It's a handicap match. Comes back out, attacks Benoit, holds him back, and Rikishi gives him a stink face, and Kurt Angle's laughing. Benoit gets pissed, and he goes to Stephanie like, nobody laughs at me, especially when I get a stink face. I want Kurt Angle. She's like, all right, well, you got him at Unforgiven. Huh. I can make fun of you for getting an ass in your face, but you can't make fun of me. That's basically how this got started, and that's Benoit slowly turned into a babyface during this feud because, like I said, everybody fucking hated Kurt Angle. The "You Suck" chants just got louder and louder and louder after he got his head shaved. Which I think Edge started that "You Suck" chant shit that year. That's when the "You Suck" chant was born. Yeah. So, and Kurt Angle would get furious, and Kurt Angle, I mean, I don't think he was doing drugs by then, but Kurt Angle was like so skinny, like TNA Kurt Angle at this time. He was like so skinny.
And that was like 3 months, before this pay-per-view.
Yeah. This match was it went 14 minutes. But like I said earlier, when we were talking about Eddie, Chris Benoit, hands down, probably for me, one of the best top 5 technical wrestlers. So seeing these two going up on the card, you know that you're going to get a really, really good technical wrestling match. Just how many reversals they had from the ankle lock.
Oh my God. Counters. Yes. Countering ankle locks, countering cross faces. Like even Kurt Angle put him in a cross face. Like that's what made it so fucking good. Was it their best match in their history? Probably not, but it's top 5 at least.
Oh, yeah.
I'm stuck between WrestleMania 17 or Royal Rumble 2003 as their best match ever. That was a good one. I'm actually going different route. I thought their Ultimate Submission match from Backlash 2001 was probably one of their better ones.
Mm-hmm. My favorite was the one at WrestleMania. But this one was a top 5. It just best match on the card, like hands down for sure. For me, just great professional wrestling. Definitely miss Benoit for sure. I'm gonna say their match at the Royal Rumble in 2003 was their best match ever for the title. But then the funny part after this, they became partners again for the WWE tag team title tournament. Stephanie put them as a tag team, and they never got along. They always fought with each other after they won, and they still won the tag team titles, and they still fucking hated each other. So that was genius, having them become the first WWE tag team champions when they created those belts. Like, I was pissed about it. I wanted Edge and Rey Mysterio to be the first team to win it, but having Benoit and Angle do it was the right call. It was great for storytelling. Even though their reign only lasted like a couple weeks before they lost them to Edge and Mysterio, and I thought it was probably one of the greatest 2 out of 3 falls matches ever. But I mean, deep down, you know, both those guys respected each other. Like, these Kurt Angle Benoit matches reminded me of that's a good one. Benoit against Bret Hart back in WCW.
Yeah, Undertaker, Kurt Angle, Rikishi trio could have been called the Dead American Ass. Shout out to Temple for that. He's gonna create that on WWE 2K24. Make it happen. All right, so are you ready for a little HLA when we talk about this? So Bischoff comes out to have a little hot lesbian action with Stephanie McMahon, and he brings out two women, and one's named Peaches, the other one's name's Cream, like it's that 112 song, Peaches and Cream. Shout to them guys.
Good song.
Okay, this is a. Do they not look like the Miller Lite Catfight girls? Is that Katana Baker and Tanya Valander?
Oh my God, yeah.
I think the brunette was one of the Miller girls.
Katana Baker. This was before the boob job.
I think it is.
When I saw her, I said, that is fucking Katana Baker.
It definitely looks like her.
Before the implants.
And
then I'm looking at the blonde. I'm like, that might not be Tanya, but it kind of looked like her. Well, Stephanie come out. King's like already in fucking horny heaven. Freaking horny police alert. And they take what now?
He said, puppies.
Yeah. Well, they start with like a little tease. They take their tops off. They take Stephanie's like leather jacket off. They're like giving her a massage. They're like a full body massage, and they're gonna go like, I don't know, down on her or whatever, go to kiss her, and then he's like, well, hold up. I changed my mind, which he said that like several times.
Yeah.
Like he was gonna give them a tease when they were going to kiss each other. It's like, nah, let's get down to it. Let's get Stephanie out here. And you can look, I gotta pop it back up. You can tell Stephanie's eyes, she's like, what the fuck is going on here? Why did my dad drag me into this shit?
She was done.
Yeah, this segment had Vince just written all over it. I mean,
well, can we rewind a little bit back? Remember the Raw where they had the lesbian protests outside at the Raw, and then they all came down to the ring, and I don't know what Bischoff told one of them, but one of them went to Bischoff. Oh, he was about to do the 3-minute shit. Like, oh, I got 3 minutes. One of them that, oh fuck, what's her name? She looked like from fucking Despicable Me. She fucking kicked them in the balls.
Yeah.
It's Stephanie McMahon. And she's like, what's that, Eric? You got 3 minutes? And then Billy and Chuck come out and beat the shit out of Eric Bischoff for well, yeah. Okay, then we fast forward to this. They're about to, like, I don't know, go down on her or start making out with her. And then he was like, no, I changed my mind. You ladies, you're excused. And then they walk out. The fans are pissed. And then
Bischoff out of the building.
How many lesbians do they really have in LA? Because he was like, after all the lesbians I've interviewed in the city of LA. And I'm like, oh, Bischoff spent the whole weekend trying to interview women to make a couple extra dollars to embarrass the boss's daughter on TV. When he said, like, of all the lesbians I've interviewed on TV,
yeah,
like, God, jeez,
yeah.
Did Vince McMahon write that shit?
Yeah, he did.
Did Vince interview these women? Not Eric Bischoff. Vince did this shit.
Didn't he say that Hildegard, a lady, was like beating his door down, like trying to be the one for the HLA with Stephanie? It was just insane.
Yeah, well, and here comes, he said, I found the perfect lesbian for you, the ugliest, the fattest, whatever. And then Hildegard is the name, folks.
Repulsive. Ugliest, fattest, repulsive lesbian.
Well, I'm looking at this and I'm like, okay, that's got to be somebody. That's not a woman. And I'm like, is that a transgender? Is that, I don't know. Like I said, that's not a woman. That's got to be a man. And I'm laughing at him before I say his real name. I'm just like, I'm cutting it off. Like, I'm just laughing at him. He's looking at Stephanie like, and he's just like that, walking up to her. Well, then she just starts just making out, grabbing his ass. I like how he's not touching her. I guess he knew better. It's like, oh, hold on now. The boss is watching this. I ain't gonna So
you better watch what you're doing, pal.
I think back then her and
hold her hips like you're slow dancing with her. Don't grab a full moon.
I think back then her and Triple H were actually engaged.
Mm-hmm. Because
they didn't get married until 3.
You probably looked at Triple H like, look, your fucking father-in-law dragged me into this.
Mm-hmm.
It's okay. It's for the business.
He was probably laughing. He was probably laughing his ass off.
Mm-hmm.
Well, Stephanie grabs a handful of that ass, and then Bischoff. I don't know what caught him off guard. I guess he was just astounded, like, oh, she's really making out with a woman. Like, what the hell? And then all of a sudden, he gets super kicked. And when I recognized that super kick, I'm like, When he took off the wig and the mask, it was Rikishi from SmackDown. And Stephanie had a plan, and it worked, and it backfired on Bischoff again. And the longest stink face of all, when he pulled that fucking suit up, yeah, you got an image. Fake bra on with no fake tits under it.
Oh my God.
Wedgied that ass up, smacked it twice. You're having Juvenile in your head playing in the background. Back that ass up. And stink face that probably lasted like 60 seconds. And JR in the background, oh my God, the longest stink face in professional wrestling. And King's like, he's got to get fumigated now. That's ridiculous. They got to fumigate his face, JR. And Rikishi and Stephanie just dancing to the Too Cool theme in the background, which Bischoff got a little taste of his own medicine again. That plan backfired. One of the funniest shits ever with the Hildegard or Rikishi.
Mm-hmm.
I thought they were going to pull the whole, like, instead of Rikishi giving him stink face, it would have been, what was it, when The Rock and Vince had their Kiss My Ass segment on SmackDown, and The Rock just shoved Vince's face, like, right up on Rikishi's ass. I thought this was going to go the same way. But just with Bischoff.
I thought that was funny where, even though I felt like it was offensive to me, but when that SmackDown, when Rock shoved Vince's face in Rikishi's ass, and he was like, oh my God, if there is a God. And I'm like, God damn, JR. Did Vince write that for you?
Mm-hmm.
Probably.
What was funnier? Bischoff taking a stink face from a drag Rikishi or a Bronco Buster from Mae Young with anchovy shoved down her crotch?
Oh.
Oh, that's tough. Probably for me, it was this one. Just the way, because you could definitely tell it wasn't like a female. It was either like a transgender or it was a wrestler. I had no idea who it was when I went back and watched it. I could not remember. But that was classic for Rikishi. I loved it. I loved the segment. That was great.
I'd rather take a Bronco Buster from Mae Young. I don't think I would want Rikishi's ass in my face.
Oh, no. Definitely not. Definitely not.
Especially if he ate seafood down in my area.
No.
Yeah, that would have been bad.
Mm-mm.
And then I'd be thrown up like Booker T. You know, he had crawfish etouffee. Yeah, I'm going to throw up.
Yeah,
or he ate oysters. I'm going to throw up.
That's
all right. Yeah. Whew. All right, moving on. Main event, we get Brock Lesnar versus The Undertaker for the WWE Championship. Let's talk about Brock Lesnar real quick.
Rookie Brock Lesnar.
In 1 year, he had a hell of a rookie season. In just a year, I wouldn't even just about a year, he took out some of the biggest names. He had an undefeated streak for like 7-8 months. He took out some big guys like Rikishi or Mark Henry. He had great feuds with guys like Rob Van Dam, Undertaker, Kurt Angle, all these guys. He won King of the Ring. He beat The Rock. He became the youngest WWE champion, 25 years old. He even had 2 WWE title reigns, won a Royal Rumble, and main evented WrestleMania.
Yeah,
it's a hell of a year.
Yeah. That's why they call him the next big thing. Rookie year, he beat Hogan.
Yep, and he ended Hulkamania. Yep, he beat Hulk Hogan too.
Like bloodied him up. He beat The Rock at SummerSlam to get the belt. He coming into this, he's undefeated, had never been pinned, submission, anything like that. This was definitely the start of the Beast Incarnate.
And that was also one of those iconic moments I loved when he beat the fuck out of Hogan and he took his blood and just smeared it across his chest. Such a kick-ass moment right there.
Yeah, pretty much the year Brock was, debuted the night after WrestleMania 18.
Mm-hmm.
He beat Jeff Hardy at Backlash.
Mm-hmm. Beat the Hardys.
Beat the Hardys with Paul Heyman as the tag team partner.
Paul Heyman took the fucking pinfall.
Yep,
for the
exactly. Won King of the Ring, beat RVD. He could have became Intercontinental Champion at Vengeance, but he decided to get DQ.
That was technically his first loss, but he did not get pinned. He got disqualified, but that wasn't the first time he got DQ'd while he was doing this run. But okay,
he beat Flair.
Hogan. He beat Flair.
He beat Hogan to become #1 contender for SummerSlam.
Mm-hmm.
No, he was already #1 contender. He won King of the Ring.
Oh yeah, but then he put it up for grabs against Hogan.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Because Hogan won an end, so he put up his #1 contender shot. And that's why they had the match.
Squashed him.
Yeah, I couldn't believe Hogan, throughout his career, he didn't like putting anybody over.
It was sad. That happened the night before I started my first day of junior high, and I just went to bed haunted like Hulk Hogan's done.
Mm-hmm.
And started junior high the next day.
Yeah, that sounds about right.
That was a squash match. He beat Hogan fast.
Beat his ass.
Mm-hmm. And it was by submission because it was the bear hug.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, he didn't tap out. He passed out.
He passed out. Mm-hmm. Yeah. And then
because only one man made Hogan tap out, and it was Kurt Angle.
Yeah, and that was the month before.
Mm-hmm.
Because that was also 2002.
Mm-hmm.
Yep. And then
what happened was Undertaker wasn't pinned in the Vengeance match when he lost on the disputed title to Rock, and because Rock pinned Kurt Angle. And once Brock brought the title to SmackDown, Taker was like, "Hey, I want first shot."
Yeah.
Well, I thought
I wanted the first.
I thought he beat Benoit in a #1 contenders match.
He did.
Well, that as well, but Taker pretty much had first dibs either way if you really look at it.
Mm-hmm.
Because he won the first shot at the Youngblood.
Yep.
I like the way they did the intro before the match started. They showed Lesnar, back in like his high school days and college.
Yes, 10 years. Like they compared their Undertaker was debuting in the WWE and had a hell of a career and winning championships, and then they showed Brock Lesnar like in junior high and high school wrestling and wrestling at college. It was weird. Like 10 years, I wouldn't say 10-year difference, but Brock was 25 at the time. I don't know how Undertaker may have been 35 like I am now, or he might have been older. Maybe he was in his 40s by now. I don't know. It's
I think he was close to 40 or maybe like 42-ish.
Yeah, he was 42. He was 42.
It's not like mentor versus, I don't know, like protege, or not student versus teacher, but like old school versus new school type shit.
Yep.
I had one question about this match because I couldn't really remember. Was this before Undertaker was with Michelle McCool? Because
he was married to Sarah, and Sarah was off TV for a while. They brought her in with the DDP stalking shit during the invasion angle. We never saw her again. They brought her back because supposedly she was expecting her first or second child with the Undertaker. Undertaker's got 4 kids, I found out. He was once married before Sarah. He had 1 kid with that woman. I thought he had all girls. I think he had 1 son.
No, he has a son that looks identical to him.
Yeah, the spit image.
Well, then that must have been with his first wife. Because he's got 5 kids.
Oh, wow.
Oh, yeah, because he has 1 with Michelle.
Yeah, that youngest one you saw on that WWE 2K commercial. So,
Yep.
all right. So he married his first wife named Jody Lynn. He was married to her for 10 years. They got married in 89. They divorced in 99. He had a son with her, Gunnar Vincent Calloway, who was born in 93. Then he married Sarah in 2000. He had 2 daughters with her, Chasey and Gracie Calloway, until they were divorced in 2007. He married Michelle McCool in 2010, and they had
3 years.
one daughter. They had one girl with her, that girl you see all the time, which she was born in 2012, so she's probably 12 by now. And they adopted a boy together named Colt. So 4 came out of his balls and 1 he adopted.
Oh my God. Well, Undertaker for me, he besides Hogan, he was probably my favorite. Obviously, I'm not a big fan of the way I went to WrestleMania last year in Philly. I'm not a big fan of how he ended up being inserting himself into the Cody Roman match. I didn't really like that.
He replaced Stone Cold because Stone Cold didn't want to do it.
Yeah. And so Taker was already there. So
yeah,
quick little payday.
Well, she was pregnant for that first of 2 daughters he had, and they brought it in the storyline, like when they were doing the contract signing, and Paul Heyman brought up something like, "You should be at home tending to your pregnant wife," or whatever. As soon as he brought that up, he like flipped the table over. They had that face off. Well, one night on SmackDown, Undertaker, not the smartest move there, but he had the nerve to invite Sarah to SmackDown, which, by the way, I'll never forget that Sarah tattoo he had on his neck that he ended up covering. Paul Heyman goes in the locker room. Well, Undertaker gets out of the ring and goes chase after him. Well, then Brock Lesnar was like hiding somewhere, attacks him with a chair. He backs her up like to the wall, and then he just puts his hand, touches her stomach where the baby is, and just looks at her and says, "Life's a bitch." And it pissed Taker off. He's like, "Well, payback's a bitch." And it led to this. And plus, this was the debut of the worst Undertaker theme song ever, "You're Gonna Pay" by Jim Johnson.
Oh my God, it was so bad.
I hate that fucking song. It don't fit the Undertaker.
No, it was awful. It was god awful.
I remember that one.
Now, the instrumental version was cool. But, okay, if you're talking about Big Evil, American Badass, are you going to go with American Badass by Kid Rock or Rollin' by Limp Bizkit?
Ooh, are we going with remastered American Badass, or are we going with the original 2000 American Badass?
OG from the history of rock.
I still like Rollin'.
I'm gonna go with Limp Bizkit too.
Yeah, because I've heard that song in person twice. Holy shit! It sounds so fucking good at a live show.
Plus, it worked out well when Taker was coming out with the bike too. So it was fitting.
Yeah, I agree.
Which I liked how it started. You heard the gong, then you hear a bunch of steps, and then you're dead man walking. Then they showed the fucking Unforgiven 2000 graphic, and then you hear rolling. Like it was a fucking punk rock, grunge rock in the 99 2000 was the shit. Like Limp Bizkit was the fucking shit at that time. I'm telling you, when I heard Nookie for the first time, oh my God. I wanted to run my head through a fucking brick wall when I first heard Nookie. Like, I became a fan of Limp Bizkit when I first heard that song.
I thought My Way was better.
Yeah, I love My Way.
My Way was better, but like I said, if that would have been Nookie by Limp Bizkit would have been a perfect theme song for like a 1999 or 2000 pay-per-view.
I agree.
I would say Fully Loaded.
Fully Loaded, that's what I used it for. I used it for Fully Loaded 99 because it happened the same weekend as Woodstock 99. So, yeah, we get this match. Now, Undertaker didn't come out on a bike. You know, and usually when he walks out to the ring and not on a bike, I mean, shit's about to pick up. And Brock come out. Nice love what Taz says. oh, here comes the pain. Well, it didn't take long. Match just went out of control. Like, there were times Undertaker chokeslammed him or threw him out of the ring, and he just, like, got up. Like, that all you got? Undertaker would get furious. Brock would get furious. Only thing I don't understand, what was the fucking point of Matt Hardy interfering in this match?
Matt was kind of with Lesnar as a lackey.
Mm-hmm. He was with Heyman and Lesnar. Heyman wanted him. At the time,
to be a Paul Heyman guy or something.
Kinda.
I think so. Yeah.
I mean, it got out of control. Like, chair shot. Heyman taking that chair shot. Brock Lesnar took.
Oh, two of them.
Was that was not protected? Like that?
Oh, hell no.
No, he bent that chair on his head. Like, he crushed him with it. Like,
I'll tell you what.
I'm looking at it now. It's like,
I'm gonna tell you what.
It's like,
that's fucking insane. But nothing will top that chair shot he took from Jeff Hardy earlier that year. That the loudness of that chair shot, and Brock just stood there, not moved.
Well, he got busted open. Undertaker cut him.
Yep.
So, but both of them were cut.
I'm talking about the Jeff Hardy chair shot.
Okay.
Oh God, if I had that clip, I'd have played it. But no, the one he took from Undertaker, it knocked him off the ring apron, and he was busted open. And Undertaker was already busted open too. And then the referee just called for a double DQ because he couldn't break him up. They were just the Undertaker was striking him in the back corner. Then Lesnar flipped them around. They were fucking cat fighting each other. And then the referee, Brian Hebner, just called a double disqualification, and people were pissed. And then more referees try to break them up. They're still fighting. And it led to the end where Undertaker threw him through the Unforgiven side.
Oh my gosh! Yeah.
That's how it ended.
Yep.
But
try and get a better lighting.
I mean, it was a good match that had a shit ending, but it's like, should I give it the worst match of the night because of how it ended?
I don't know about the worst match of the night. Probably not. Definitely not the best for sure. I wish they would have had a clear winner. Anytime Lesnar goes for 21 minutes, that's obviously that was a rookie year, so he could go a little bit longer. It was just kind of back and forth, but choke slam, snake eyes, suplex city, just back and forth. It was just more of it turned into a brawl. So I think it made sense for the DQ there. They wasn't taking the title off of Lesnar at that time, so
nope.
And Undertaker maybe didn't want to get pinned right there. So I didn't like that it was a disqualification, but it made sense storyline wise.
But at the same time, it did lead into probably one of the better Hell in the Cell matches between the two at No Mercy. And with the whole Brock Lesnar taking a fire extinguisher, breaking Taker's hand, and then Taker using the cast as a weapon. Well, Hell in the Cell is no DQ, so it made sense. And then that match alone needed a winner, and it solidified Brock Lesnar as a legit champion. Yeah. Sure, he lasted a month later in the Big Show at Survivor Series, but
which was a big fucking mistake. But
yeah, I think that was terrible. That was terrible booking.
But at the same time, it showed why Brock was champion, and having someone like Taker letting you get the rub inside Hell in a Cell against him, that's huge.
Oh, yeah.
And then later down the line, guess who ended the streak? It was Lesnar.
Yeah, I was about to bring that up. Like, I don't think it was the best match they had, but the one where he ended the streak at Mania, the look on Paul Heyman's face, like, you did it, just, I don't know. Did you guys know that ultimately, Lesnar broke the streak, but Undertaker did a interview, and he actually wanted Roman
it would have made more sense
to break the streak, but it just didn't. Vince didn't book it that way, but that's who he wanted to be the one. Right, he wanted Roman to be the one to break the WrestleMania streak.
Well, Roman ended up beating Taker, and look at the heat he got the next night in Raw. Like, as soon as he showed up and said, "This is my year now," he got booed. That's when they should have turned Roman, and that waited, what, 4 years later? 5 years later?
Right at
4 years?
Yeah.
Well, I thought it was a very good pay-per-view despite how it ended. Match of the night, I'm giving it to Benoit and Angle. There was really not a bad match. I would have gave the main event the worst match of the night with how it ended, but with all the shit they did to each other, I just can't.
Yeah.
But overall, I thought it was a good pay-per-view.
No, I feel like they should have flipped it with Triple H and RVD, have the show end with Ric Flair and Triple H hand in hand. But
yeah, I agree.
For hell, you know what? I've been good with Benoit and Angle main eventing. Fuck.
Yeah, that was
I didn't even tell you how that match. I didn't even get to finish how that match ended. I mean, Benoit fucking used the ropes of his leverage to fucking pin Kurt Angle, which that would have been a good way to end the pay-per-view. Having to cheat to win and piss Angle off.
Yeah, that was by far the match of the night. For me, the worst match was Trish, Molly Holly. I know there was a story there that, you know, teacher versus student type thing, but I don't know. Just for a women's wrestling match, it was really short, like 5 minutes. I would put this match over that one for sure, but not the best, but not the worst either.
Plus, it had one of the best pay-per-view theme songs ever, Adrenaline by Gavin Rossdale, who is the lead singer of Bush. Or is it Rush? It was Bush, right? Rush. Lead singer of Rush, not Bush.
Rush.
And it was on the motion pit. It was from the Triple X soundtrack, which, I don't know, my brother fucking loved that song so much. Like, I remember that was one of his favorites theme songs ever. Like, I thought it was a good theme. Like, they always pick the great themes around this time compared to today. But all right, well, that will do it for this nostalgia episode. Like I said, if you don't want to wait till the audio drops, you can rewatch this live stream anytime on demand. I'm going to do another one next week since Bad Blood's coming soon. I'm going to have Justin from the In Time Wrestling Podcast on, and maybe Dylan. We're going to talk Bad Blood 2004 next week.
Oh, nice.
The last Bad Blood we ever had.
That makes sense. I always liked 2003.
Yeah, I could have went to that pay-per-view, but I didn't go to it. But yeah, so we're going to talk Bad Blood 04 next week. I might end up doing it I might do it early because I got another show I'm going on next week in Living Color. Plus, I'm doing Sportsmania Plus next week on a Tuesday instead. I think I'm gonna do Bad Blood 04 on a Sunday. We're supposed to shoot it on Sunday afternoon, so you're gonna get it a little early next week. So sometime Sunday, it might be Sunday afternoon or Sunday evening. Myself, Justin, and supposedly Dylan's gonna join us too. We're gonna talk because Dylan's got a stretch of 2004 pay-per-view nostalgia. He already did like 4 with me from 04, and I think he wants to do another one. So, because 04 was his year. So, don't look out for that. That'll be the last one I'm going to do probably for like a couple weeks because I know when the end of the month comes, or not the end of next week is the end of the month, but the first week of October, we're going to have our prediction show for Bad Blood instead. So after that prediction show, I'll start doing more nostalgias again. I got a No Mercy lined up. I'm trying to get a Halloween Havoc lined up.
That's what I was going to ask you if you were going to do a Havoc.
Yeah.
I'm looking. I've only done one in the past. I did 98. I'm looking at wanting to do like 93, maybe 97, maybe 99 or 2000. I don't know. I'll look into it. No Mercy. I'm doing 05 for sure.
Kind of surprised you're not doing the first one from NXT.
No, it didn't make the cut yet. It didn't make its. It didn't make. I'm treating nostalgia just like the Hall of Fame. You got to be 5 years until you probation until you make.
That makes sense.
So maybe next year I can start doing NXT shows again. But I don't know. I might do even though Hell in a Cell, I might do a Hell in a Cell show too. I don't know. I mean, I'm gonna find something to look at in October before I start doing Survivor Series throughout November. So, Well, real quick, let me roll out Eli, CJP. Where can they find y'all on social media or y'all shows?
I'm Eli Myers. I'm from Winona, Minnesota. You can find me on Facebook.
I'm the EVP, CJP. You can find me on Facebook, CJ Perry, or on Twitter at Charlie718-03496. Or you can find me on Friday nights on Two Heads Podcast on Twitter Spaces at 6 p.m. and my own personal show with co-host Kyle Anthony on Monday nights called Main Event Mondays at 5:30 p.m. Eastern every Monday. So.
Well, all right, guys. I will catch y'all down the road, and we'll have some more nostalgias for people coming soon. So thank y'all, and we'll see y'all next week.
See y'all later.
Later.